1919 was an auspicious year in history. The First World War ended, ushering a drastic change in the world order. The Philippine Islands had been a U.S. territory for 2 decades and was promised independence under the Jones Law of 1916. Progressive reformers saw the country and its people as a major target for modernization, and education was its main weapon. 7 forward-looking Filipinas came together in 1919 to create a school where young women could gain the knowledge and skills that would make them modern women. Paz Marquez Benitez was the first president of the Philippine Women's College. Jose Abad Santos was its first chairman of the Board of Trustees. Francisca Tirona Benitez was the second president, and with her husband Dean Conrado, guided the school from a house on A. Flores Street to its iconic Taft Avenue campus. In 1932, the college became a university, making PWU the first university for women in Asia founded by Asians. It provided a space where innovations in education flourished, and young people were encouraged to be the best that they could be. For over 100 years, the Philippine Women's University has been known as a leader in quality education. In 1934, PWU moved into its main campus on Taft Avenue, and since the 1970s has been co-educational. Located in the heart of Metro Manila, it is easily accessible by public transport and surrounded by affordable housing. Today's PWU offers undergraduate and graduate courses in several fields of study. Its business and management programs are responsive to the needs of industry, using evolving technology for global competence. PWU graduates excel in arts and sciences, education, social work, and diplomacy. Its fine arts and music programs have produced outstanding graduates through a holistic education that treasures heritage as well as excellence. PWU has pioneered in fields such as food science, nutrition and dietetics, medical technology, pharmacy, and nursing. PWU continues to play an essential role in producing graduates who possess the skills that make them competitive in the country and anywhere in the world.
We are a united community.
We may not be blood related,
but we Patriots are one big family.
Being part of the PWU community strengthens us.
Through the years, we support each other through good times and bad times.
We Patriots always have each other's back.
It's a big honor to be part of a community that is open to the ideas of each other.
Drives us to excel, and be the best version of ourselves.
That's the standard of excellence that we Patriots strive for.
I'm thankful that this community lets us be who we want to be.
We thrive because we accept each other for who we are.
And like a family, we treat each other equally.
Actually, PWU gave us a home and helped us to be a patriot in society.
We may have different individual drums and instruments,
but we march to the same beat together as one united community.
Do you want to march with our community of patriots?
I am a patriot.
I am a patriot.
I am a patriot.
I am a patriot.
Mabuhay and a blessed day to everyone. We are very pleased to welcome you once again to the second day of our Hospitality Management International Research Conference event 2022. We also would like to thank our FB viewer. We already have 40 and at YouTube 6 viewer. This event is proudly organized and brought to you by the Master of Science in Hotel and Restaurant Management students of the Philippine Women's University. Before we formally start, I request everyone to please turn your attention to your smartphone, laptop, or desktop computer for our opening prayer and Philippine National Anthem, to be followed by our event teaser trailer and a short video from the Department of Tourism in the Philippines.
Let's bow our heads and place ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Our Heavenly Father, we come before you today with humble hearts and with gratefulness for all the wonders and blessings you have showered upon us. Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering all of us today in this important event. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be in this momentous event. May you bestow your guidance and blessings on this event so that we can enjoy and appreciate the significance in our lives. Bless everyone present today, that each may be able to share what he or she has for your glory and honor. Truly, discipline, perseverance, and the determination to excel are instilled in us abundantly. Lord, we acknowledge that everything comes from you, the God who orchestrates every second of our lives so perfectly, because of His great love for us. All the praises and awards that we will receive today are meant to be given back to you. It is because of your grace and your guidance that we have come this far. Whatever is set before us, we give all the glory back to you. May this event be a success through your intervention. We ask all of this in Jesus' name, amen.
Sa simoy at sa langit mong bukaw, may dilagang tulad, awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kisap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidigi. Kami tuwin ang araw niya, kailan pa may di magdidinig. Lupa ng araw ng at ipagsintabay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya dapat may mga ami ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen, here and abroad. I am Shusha Magalona, and together with me is Miss Melisa Llanes. We are the graduates of Philippine Women's University studying Master of Science in Hotel and Restaurant Management, and we will be your conference hosts for today.
Once again, good morning, everyone. We would also like to extend a special welcome to our esteemed research presenters, namely Dr. Azucena Palugna, Dr. Michael Bobet Baluyot, Dr. Emily Banzel, Dr. Arlene Ong, Ms. Alexis Ruiz de los Santos, Ms. Sunshine Sarmiento, and Ms. Carmela S. Tongson. All our sought-after presenters will be formally introduced later. Please let us all give them a Filipino hospitality warm virtual applause. For an engaging and smooth program flow, we would like to remind everyone of our web conference netiquette. First, we encourage all attendees to please mute your microphones when not speaking to reduce background noise. We highly encourage everyone to dress appropriately when cameras are requested to turn on for photo opportunities. And third, we highly suggest all our attendees to prepare a pen and a paper with you for your notes taking while attentively listening to all our esteemed conference speakers.
Thank you for those reminders, Ma'am Melisa. And to add up to that, if you have any questions or clarifications during the speaker's oral presentation, you may type them into the chat box. The conference moderator will bring them up during the question and answer portion. Second, your thoughts and suggestions are highly significant to the organizers. Please make sure to answer the web conference evaluation form that will be given or posted toward the end of the conference. You will receive your e-certificate of attendance via your registered email addresses. So be sure to provide your valid and active email addresses. We are very thankful for your presence today. So we want you to sit back, relax, enjoy, and learn from this International Virtual Research Conference 2022. Finally, we encourage everyone to send us an email for more queries and questions about this two-day International Virtual Research Conference via ivrc.pwu.2022@gmail.com. We are very excited to have you all here today. And we truly appreciate you for taking time off with your busy schedules to attend our second day program.
Thank you, Ms. Susha. This blissful Saturday, June 25, 2022, is indeed a great opportunity and a huge learning experience for everyone to listen to our research presenters from tourism and hospitality industry and from the field of education in one event. Please allow me to recognize some important people before we begin this much anticipated webinar. Our University President, Mr. Marco Alfredo Benitez, PWU University Chancellor and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Felina C. Young, Graduate School Director, Dr. Emerita Sornosa, Dean of School of Hospitality Management, Dr. Efraimwell Jose Abellana, our esteemed speakers, guests, participants, viewers, classmates, and students. We are very happy that you are able to join us in this conference entitled Cresting 2.0 Research Conference, Innovation and Resilience Among Discipline in the Tourism and Hospitality Industry.
I'm delighted to inform everyone this conference is hosted by the Graduate School of Hospitality Management with the guidance of our Dean and Subject Professor, Dean Efraimwell Jose Abellana. To officially start with this program, it is with great honor and pride to welcome our Professor and Cluster Dean of School of Hospitality Management, Dr. Efraimwell Jose Abellana, for his inspirational message.
Thank you, Shusha. Thank you, Mayor. Patriots greetings to our University President, Mr. Marco Alfredo Benitez, to our University Chancellor and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Felina C. Young, and to all our Vice Presidents, my fellow Deans, Directors, and Program Chairs, to our stellar international brand research paper reviewers, our faculty members, Dr. Blanco, Dr. Zacarias, Dr. Calugna, Dr. Caluza, Dr. Sardenia, and Attorney Piras, and to our incredibly amazing and innovative alumni presenters this morning for our second day of the conference, our visitors here and abroad, students at the graduate school and undergraduate, and all other schools and universities all over the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very, very overjoyed and so glad to see these graduates of ours. We invited them to this highly anticipated event, and they have accepted our invitation because they want to share also their study and to contribute the body of knowledge that will benefit our society, the community, our business, institutions, and many other groups. And again, I'd like to say good morning, everyone. Our theme this year, Cresting 2.0, Research Convergence, Innovation, and Resilience Among the Discipline in the Tourism and Hospitality Industry, is an outstanding message for all our PW students, both undergraduate and graduate students, and of course, our future students here in this university. Our dear students, research is the highest kind of academic participation during in your graduate study. Okay, this happens in your thesis or dissertation writings, or 1 and 2. And research engagements provide us with the chance and occasion to open our hearts and minds to consider what is happening in our society right now. What is so significant contributions your research has made to the society? And of course, the challenges of this pandemic, despite in our lives, where everything has been put on hold. And yet, we have to innovate on some areas moving forward. And of course, research is also innovation. Our esteemed alumni presenters, I'm so proud of these graduates of ours, will be gladly sharing with us their research methodologies, findings, conclusions, and recommendations, which is the communication stage in any research process in your thesis or dissertation. So many students right now this morning will be more fortunate, definitely, and delighted to hear from our alumni's presentation in this morning's or this day's event. And research studies is for the improvement and discovery of knowledge. And this day, International Research Conference, our second year, serve as inspiration and aspiration for our current thesis. And dissertation students be more enthusiastic, okay? Be passionate, always be happy about your research projects every day because you have a mission. You are not just a scholar in KW, you have this mission in this world of academia and the industry to be creative with your methodology and need to be resilient because of this pandemic is only temporary. And for our tourism and hospitality sector's benefits, always ignite the passion within you. I'm just your dean here, 24/7. You can email me, text me, and everything that your thesis or dissertation concerns. And once again, I'd like to say congratulations to the men and women of this batch, okay, headed by Mr. Lito and John, for your passion, your dedication to have this two-day conference. Everyone in your batch, I'm so happy as your dean, as your advisor. Again, embracing research is a life-changing experience every day. Thank you and mabuhay patriots. Susha, Mel, back to you.
Thank you so much, Dean Abellana, for such significant and inspirational words. It is a great pleasure to have you with us today. And now we are thrilled to welcome our conference co-chairperson, Ms. Cecil Tuliao, for her welcome remarks.
Thank you, Ms. Susha. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our participants here and abroad. To our University President, Mr. Marco Alfredo Benitez, our University Chancellor, Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Felina C. Yang, the Graduate School Director, Dr. Emerita Zornoza, the Dean of School and Hospitality Management, Dr. Eframuel Jose Abellana, all the university vice presidents, deans, directors, and program chairs, our distinguished presenters, namely Ms. Alexis de los Santos, Ms. Sunshine Sarmiento, Ms. Carmela Thompson, Dr. Alzena Apolugna, Dr. Michael Bobet Baluyot, Dr. Arlene Ong, and Dr. Emily Banzel. The Graduate School Faculty of Tourism and Hospitality Management, and my fellow classmates, and to all the committee chairs and members, our international and local delegations around the globe, the deans, the faculty members, all the brightest and most passionate researchers, students, very generous sponsors and guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is so wonderful to see every one of you present today. We are excited to have you all here with us today, attending this much anticipated event. The Philippine Women's University Graduate School of Hospitality Management, Second International Virtual Research Conference 2022. On behalf of the organizing committee, the graduate students of Master of Science in Hotel and Restaurant Management, taking up event management and international tourism and hospitality management subjects under the supervision of Dean Eframuel Jose Abellana, please allow me to extend a warm welcome to each one of you and our deepest appreciation for taking your time to be with us on this very lovely Saturday morning. This research conference that is entitled Cresting 2.0, Research Convergence, Innovation, and Resilience among Disciplines in the Tourism and Hospitality Industry is the second time the School of Hospitality Management holds a research forum like this. And we made sure to rise to this highest level, hence naming it Cresting 2.0. This research conference that taking place today is already a second part from June 18, 2022, last Saturday of our International Research Conference. Today, we will witness the dissertation and thesis papers from the alumni of the Philippine Women's University School of Hospitality Management that received excellent and very satisfactory ratings in their research paper, respectively. So at this point, we would like to thank our eminent presenters for sharing their precious time and expertise to us. So just sit back and relax as we listen and understand about their studies. I know every one of you here is much excited as I am. So I wish you a very pleasant day ahead. Again, this is Cecil Tuliao, one of the co-chairpersons of this year's School of Hospitality Management Second International Virtual Research Conference. Welcome everyone. Tuloy po kayo. Stay with us at mabuhay.
Thank you very much, Miss Cecil, and for that very warm welcome remarks. Why don't we make this morning not just wonderful, but a day full of learning and experiences? Don't you agree, Miss Shusha?
Indeed, Miss Melissa, we've anticipated long enough for this day, and we all know anticipation comes with painstaking efforts, sleepless nights, and wishful thoughts, finally now coming into reality.
It is truly with honor and great pride to make this learning opportunity possible and available for all of us. In behalf of the student organizers from the Masters of Science in Hotel and Restaurant Management, may this day help us to ignite our passion for research, and may we have a lot of takeaways today.
So, to finally start with the conference, may I call on Ms. Katrina Beatriz Mendoza from the Program Committee to formally introduce and welcome our first esteemed presenter.
Thank you, Ms. Shuza. Good morning, everyone. It is my honor to introduce to you our first speaker of the day. She started her career in the Philippine Department of Tourism more than 24 years ago. Before her San Francisco assignment, she assumed a post as the Tourism Attaché Designate of Philippine Department of Tourism, New York, and later handled the Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand markets. She led international and domestic initiatives on scuba diving, surfing, game fishing, and other sports tourism programs. She was the team head for Dive Office of Product and Market Development and played a significant role in surfing tourism development in Siargao Island in the Philippines and cruise tourism development in the North America team for nearly a decade. She completed a degree in Bachelor of Arts, major in Development Communication from Ateneo de Cagayan Xavier University, and Masters of Science in Tourism Management from the Philippine Women's University. She also holds a certificate in Destination Marketing from Temasek University in Singapore, a certificate in Practical Project Management in the Global Market from the Asian Institute of Management in Makati City, and a certificate in Strategic Marketing from Cornell University, Ithaca, New York. She is currently taking up a doctorate in Hospitality Management from Philippine Women's University with a current status of dissertation writing. She is the Senior Tourism Officer of the Philippine Department of Tourism in San Francisco, United States. She will be presenting today her dissertation paper entitled The Travel Landscape of Filipino Americans, a Tourism Destination Marketing Model and Strategy for the Philippines in the New Normal. Please do help me in extending our warm hospitality. Welcome to our first presenter for this AM session, Dr. Azucena Calugna.
Thank you very much, Katrina.
Thank you.
I'll just share my screen.
Facebook viewers who reach now to 100, and to our YouTube viewer as well.
Of course, I would like to acknowledge the presence of one of our audience from Morocco. We also have from Polytechnic University of the Philippines. We also have from Manila Business College. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for sharing my screen. So sorry for the technical problems that I encountered. So good morning, everyone. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat, especially to the organizer of this event, my co-presenters, and Dean Abiliana, who also happened to be my advisor on this dissertation paper. I am honored and privileged to present briefly my dissertation paper on the travel landscape of Filipino Americans, a tourism destination marketing model and strategy for the Philippines in the new normal. So this study is very timely as we navigate the pandemic and our borders just opened for foreign tourists. So the current data of the Philippine Department of Tourism, particularly on foreign tourist arrivals, confirm how significant is the Filipino-American market segment to revitalizing our country's tourism industry. Second slide, please. So Filipino-American travelers constitute a significant market segment for the Philippines, comprising 70% of the 1.65 million American arrivals in 2019, pushing the US as the third largest inbound in the Philippine tourism after Korea and China. Currently, the US is the number one source market for the Philippines. However, as a researcher and a practitioner, I noted that the Philippines market share from the international travel of Filipino Americans was only 21.9% at the time when I conducted this study, and that this niche market remains an enigma. Since I joined the Philippine Department of Tourism 2 decades ago, this is the first time that a scientific study for the Filipino-American niche market segment was conducted in the US. Okay, can you move to, okay, slide 3, please. Okay. So the study determined the travel landscape of Filipino Americans residing in each of 4 US regions: California in the West, Illinois in the Midwest, New York in the Northeast, and Texas in the South, to craft the recommended tourism destination marketing model for the and strategy for the Philippines to increase demand or visitation to the country. Slide 4, please. The primary objective of this study was to craft a destination marketing model for Filipino American travelers to increase demand or visitation to the Philippines. It determined their socio-demographic and geographic profiles and psychographic profiles, particularly on travel preferences, planning and decision-making, travel sentiments, and customer journey. So hence, this is the framework I coined when I studied the travel landscape of Filipino Americans. Next slide, please. As a researcher, I applied an amalgam of marketing models and frameworks to determine the travel landscape of Filipino Americans. I adopted Destination Think's marketing model, which emphasizes stories and experiences to promote a destination to tourists. Can you move the slide, please? So this is the Destination Marketing Think model. So the model emphasizes that DMOs should first identify their target market to share relevant experiences with the proper channels and storytellers. So Destination Think explained in this model that today's travel landscape outnumbered traditional media narratives and stories with social media and online stories. However, the destination marketing organizations or DMOs created insufficient narratives and stories for their target market. So understanding the customer journey is critical in this research. So I adapted the Philip Kotler 2017 customer path in a connected world framework of 5 A's, from aware, appeal, ask, act, to advocate. So as Kotler explained, a customer's decision across the 5 A's is usually influenced by a combination of their own influence, other is influence, and outer influence. So in an era where the customers are always right and empowered to chart their journey. I also applied the brand and purchase advocacy ratio. Next slide, please. Purchase advocacy ratio and brand advocacy ratio aim to measure how will brands convert brand awareness into a purchase. So according to Kotler's bow tie pattern reflects the critical trait of a perfect brand with a score of 1 is to aware equals advocate. So where everyone aware of the brand is willing to recommend the brand because of its stellar reputation. It means that the brand appeal is so strong that everyone who is attracted to it end up buying it. I also applied a descriptive research design using a qualitative and quantitative method to determine Filipino Americans' travel landscape. Next slide, please. So out of 793 respondents that I gathered from various ethnic groups, only 53% or 420 Filipino American respondents became the main focus of this research. So as computed using the Sloven formula with a confidence level of 95% and a margin of error of 5%, I achieved the target of 400 respondents, ensuring a reasonable accuracy of results. So the remaining 47% that considered themselves not a Filipino were not included in the study. So for qualitative data collection, individual interviews via Zoom app or mobile phone using structured questionnaires were conducted with 16 interviewees composed of Filipino community leaders, travel agents, tour operators, and Philippine airline representatives, and tourism representatives, consuls, and cultural officers of the Philippine Department of Tourism and Consulate General from San Francisco, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Texas. Due to respondents and availability, I conducted individual interviews instead of 3 virtual focus group discussions. So I ran the survey for 4 to 5 days from August to September 2021. I ran a 2-week Facebook page advertising to promote the online survey and created a 6-week mailer-lite email marketing campaign to map Filipino Americans' customer journey from awareness to advocacy, applying geo-targeting to maximize advertising efficiency and costs. So as mentioned earlier, I mapped Filipino American travel patterns in 4 US regions, the home states of about 2.1 million Filipino Americans. I collected data structured questionnaires, next slide please, for in-depth interviews and online surveys, which are validated by a team of experts for 47 target respondents. So the survey instruments used were valid and reliable, based on the Cronbach alpha's coefficient result, which yielded a value of 0.927. So I use a simple statistical treatment, such as frequency counts and percentages, 5-point Likert scale, and Pearson product moment correlation coefficient. And these are the key findings of my studies. Next slide, please. So these are the key findings of my studies. Can you move on? So, but I won't discuss each slide anymore due to time constraints. So you can just visit, I can share with you the result of the study for the key findings. Next slide, please. But I will proceed with the discussion of the result of my research, including the novelty of this study. Okay, thank you for that. So the study has remarkably painted the landscape of Filipino-American travelers and identified the niche market segment: women millennials residing in California, New York, and a high propensity to travel. Since they are netizens or citizens of internet, they are highly influential to their friends and family, and e-home centric or electronic word of mouth centric, making them the most effective advocates for the Philippine tourism. So traveling is part of the Filipino lifestyle for relaxation and fulfilling their bucket lists. So they are destination brand consumers and advocates due to their mobility and connectivity. They get travel inspiration from family, friends, and influencers on social media. In terms of planning and decision making, they rely on Cutler's F factors: the friends, family, fans, and followers, plus two new factors I added: Facebook and Filipino Americans as brand ambassadors. So according to Cutler in 2017, the customers who doubt brand marketing messages rely on the F factor, and their purchasing behavior is becoming more social. So they make decisions based on social media circles and seek online and offline feedback. So in terms of safety and health protocols, they are extremely concerned about contracting the COVID-19 disease and on safety and health protocol guidelines in place at the destination. So they are ready to travel when all travel restrictions are lifted, such as RT-PCR tests or COVID tests and vaccination and quarantine requirements. So word of mouth, social media marketing, and the pull marketing approaches are the most effective channels in communicating the destination stories and experiences, including the F factors. Next slide, please. So as presented earlier, can you move to the slide, please? Next slide, please, sorry. Next slide, please. Just sorry for the technical difficulty. So as I discussed earlier, so the main niche market for the Filipino Americans are women millennials, ages 24 to 35-year-old, and they love the Philippines as a destination. So they spend time in the Philippines not only to visit their family and friends, but also to relax. Down, please. Up, down more, down, please. Up, sorry. Up, please. Okay, this one. So this is the framework that I presented earlier that I use, which can be replicated by researchers in conducting similar studies. So I was able to develop a framework to know the market well. So not only Filipino Americans, but also other niche markets that you want to target. So this is the framework that I developed from social demographic and geographic profiles down to psychographic profiles of the respondents. And this can be replicated for other researchers in conducting similar studies. And the next slide that I'll be showing you, next slide please. So what is the novelty of this study? So based on the study's finding, so this is the Filipino traveler's consumer journey that I crafted from inspiration, shopping, booking, in trip. So this reflects, or this research would help marketers better understand consumer experiences, decision making in the digital age by adopting the Filipino American traveler's journey. So for each stage of the customer journey, the F factors are very visible, and they visit travel websites, online and offline travel agents. So they consult travel agents both online and offline, and they use social media, including travel review websites. So based on this customer journey, DMOs or destination marketing organizations could create a personalized experience across all touch points. So they're increasing tourist visits to the Philippines, increasing sales and revenue, and improving their products and services for this market segment. So the next slide that I'll be showing you, can you go? Okay. So this is the Filipino Americans Travelers Consumer. And this is another novelty of the study, that one. So this is the FDA ACP tourism destination marketing model for the Philippines in the new normal that I created. So I crafted. So in this COVID-19 pandemic and digital era, so the Philippines has to leverage the power of Filipino American travelers, not only as a target market, but also as ambassadors to increase visitation to the country. So they must capitalize on great storytelling, partnering with the right storytellers and destination brand management company, creating, developing, communicating great stories, and applying the proper distribution channel. So they, or the DMOs, or the destination marketing organization, must utilize offline and online distribution channels, capitalizing on the F factors that I mentioned earlier. They have to adapt offline marketing strategies to drive awareness and interest, which is the ask and appeal, and about the destination, while online marketing strategies drive action and advocacy. So the last slide that I'll have is for destination marketing organization, or the DMOs, such as Philippine Department of Tourism, the Tourism Promotions Board, and other tourism organizations to consider adopting model for countries with a sizable Filipino population, such as Canada, Australia, Japan, and the United Kingdom, in crafting their marketing programs and activities for Filipinos abroad. So for researchers, this study could be a benchmark for future studies, as this is the first research conducted in the United States of America to determine the travel landscape of Filipino Americans. So thank you very much and have a great morning.
Thank you very much for that excellent presentation, Dr. Poluna. Very interesting and exciting as well, especially for the millennials. Once again, a big round of virtual applause, please, for Dr. Poluna. And now I would like to call on Ms. Claricel Halili from the Documentation Committee to facilitate our question and answer portion. Please take it away, Ms. Claricel.
Thank you, Ms. Melissa. I'm encouraging everyone to ask some questions for your queries and clarifications to be answered by Dr. Palugna. This is your chance to furthermore learn from our first dissertation paper presenter for today. Once again, good morning, Dr. Palugna. Let me just retrieve some of the questions for you.
Thank you.
Here, the first question was, Dr. Palugna, what was the aspect of research? Again, the question was the one of our participants wanted to ask a question. What was the most challenging aspect of?
Okay. If I heard it right, what was the most challenging aspect of the research?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Actually, the most challenging one, and it took me like almost 2 weeks to identify the theoretical framework of my study. What theoretical framework should I use? And because I was able to see a lot of frameworks, and I had a great hard time identifying which one should I use. And secondly, in crafting the statement of the problem, or the SOP, since that's the heart. SOP is the heart and soul of our study. So a if we don't craft it well, then it will make or break our study.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Palugna, for that question, for that answer. We're delighted to hear some of your insights with regards to the research study that you made. The second question was, okay, so I believe every one of us are wanted to know how will this study contribute to the body of knowledge. Again, the question is, how will this study or your study will contribute to the body of knowledge?
Number one, I presented the novelty of the study. Number one is the model, the FDA ACP destination marketing model for the Filipino American travelers that I crafted. Number two is the customers, Filipino American travelers customer journey that I crafted. And then the third one is the framework that I crafted if you want to study a certain niche market. So that framework that I crafted in order for me to know the niche market well is also a good reference material for researchers, especially when they want to study another niche market. For example, if they want to study the dive niche market, or the cruise travelers market, or the culinary market. So you can use that framework as a reference material in conducting your study. And for
Thank you once again.
the most important one is the result of my study, the model that I created, a destination marketing model for the Philippines in the new normal that I crafted. It can be used by the Philippine Department of Tourism in targeting not only the Filipino Americans, but also Filipinos all over the world. So you can use that as a framework on how to target the Filipinos abroad. It says there the most important part was that the Filipinos relies on the F factors that Cutler coined, which are the friends, the fans, the family, and the followers, plus the two new factors that I added, which are Facebook and the Filipino Americans themselves.
Hi,
Thank you
Dr.
so much,
Palugna.
Doctor.
Miss Claricel, I just would like to inject some questions, which is from one of the viewers here, from Miss Lorna Beduya. The question is, were you able to acquire data to respondents on how their decisions were influenced by travel bloggers?
For that, I was able to get data not specifically by travel bloggers, but in terms of travel planning and decision making. So I was able to get data on that one, but not specifically for travel bloggers. So based on the questionnaire that I crafted on the travel planning and decision making of the Filipino American travelers, I was able to get extract data from it. So that's why I said fans, followers are also very important. You can be a fan of the blogger, or you can be a follower of the blogger.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Claricel.
Thank you, Miss Melissa. Can we still have one more?
Do we have another question, Ma'am Claricel?
Yes, ma'am. We're trying to pull out one. All right, maybe this will be the last one. So based on your findings, Dr. Palugna, what are your recommendations? I believe for every one of us, the travelers as well, the Filipino-American tourists.
Okay. One of my recommendations for this study is that we should tweak our marketing strategy, especially targeting the Filipino American travelers. So the Department of Tourism or the Tourism Promotions Board must tweak our marketing strategy. We can target the Filipino American women millennials ages 25 to 36-year-old. We can produce more in terms of strategy, produce more stories, telling stories about our destination to make it more impactful to the travelers or the Filipino American travelers. Number two, in terms of the channels that we are using. So right now, what we do is, I know it is still effective if we participate in Filipino community events, but it also be useful if we um, use channels such as Facebook and Instagram in order to reach the Filipino American travelers. So we need to tell more stories about the destination. So that's the recommendation of the study that I have. And then third is adopt the model for not only for the Department of Tourism, not only for the Tourism Promotions Board, but for other destination marketing organizations. When I say destination marketing organizations like Malaysia, Singapore, or Thailand, they can also adapt the model that I created in targeting their own diaspora. So number three is for researchers to adapt the framework that I created in conducting a in in studying a certain market segment or in marketing in order for you to know your target market well, so you can follow the framework that I made. And then the fifth one will be the customer journey that um, crafted also. So the Filipino American customer journey, it's not only useful for the DMOs or the destination marketing organizations or the Department of Tourism or Tourism Promotions Board, but it can be useful. That customer journey can be useful for other marketers selling other products because they will know where the inspiration stage of the inspiration, the action, the purchase like stages of the Filipino Americans. Thank you.
We definitely will take note of all those renewed research ideas and practices from you, Dr. Palugna. So we appreciate your time and for joining us for today to present your study, and it will be surely be beneficial to everyone of us. For now, may I turn you over to Miss Melissa, our conference host.
Thank you so much, Ms. Claricel and Dr. Palugna. At this point, we would like to award the Certificate of Appreciation to our first dissertation presenter. And let me call on Mr. Michael Angelo Peralta from the Program Committee.
Good morning, Dr. Palugna, and thank you for your time. The Philippine Women's University, a School of Hospitality Management Philippines, presents the Certificate of Recognition to Dr. Azucena Palugna in her paper entitled The Travel Landscape of Filipino Americans, a tourism destination marketing model and strategy for Philippines in a new normal. During the second Philippine Women's University's Hospitality Management International Virtual Research Conference with the team Cresting 2.0 Research, Convergence, Innovation, and Resilience among Discipline in the Tourism and Hospitality Industry. Given this 25th day of June 2022, Saturday at the Philippine Women's University, Taft Avenue, Manila City, Philippines. Signed by Dr. Ibrahimel Jose Abellana, our Dean of School of Hospitality Management, Mr. Lito Bahado Jr., our overall conference chairperson, and Mr. John Michael Timoza, conference chairperson.
Thank
you
you
very much.
so much.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you so
appreciate
much, Dr. Palugna, for being with us and for sharing your research paper to all of us. I'm sure everyone is inspired by it.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a great opportunity to be here and to present my paper to everyone. So if you have any questions, you can just easily email me or send me a message through my Facebook account. Thank you, and
Dr. Palugna. And now, for our second dissertation presenter, may we call on Ms. Roshan Grace Mabansay from the Documentation Committee to introduce to us our next presenter.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shusha. Moving forward, our second presenter who will discuss brand performance analysis of selected casual dining restaurants in National Capital Region, basis for proposed strategic brand mechanism. He is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Hotel and Restaurant Management cum laude at Bataan Peninsula State University main campus. He earned his master's degree, Master of Science in Hotel and Restaurant Management at Philippine Women's University, Manila, and took up his doctor's degree, Doctor in Hospitality Management at the same university. He is also a certified hospitality professional, granted and awarded by the Institute of Tourism and Hospitality Professionals, United Kingdom, and a certified hospitality industry analytics, granted and awarded by the American Hotel and Lodging Association. He is currently the Vice President for External Affairs and Board of Directors for Research, NCR Chapter of Tourism Educators Movers Team Philippines. He is also a member of different associations such as the Certified Hospitality Professionals, CHP, Association of Administrators in Hospitality, Hotel and Restaurant Management Educational Institution, ORME, Council of Hotel and Restaurant Educators of the Philippines, COREP, Philippine Association of Research for Tourism and Hospitality, PART, Asia Pacific Consortium of Researchers and Educators, and also a lifetime associate member of Accidents Asia International Research Club, AAIRC. Dr. Baluyot Innovation and Transformation in Teaching and Learning during the pandemic are well recognized by awarding him as one of the recipients of the Global Leaders and Educators Award 2021, Excellence in Leadership Award and awardee of Accounting, Business, and Management category. Let's all give a warm round of virtual applause to Dr. Michael Bobet Baluyot.
Thank you very much, Ms. Babansay, for the introduction. So, first of all, I would like to greet a blessed morning to everyone, to our team members of this International Research Conference headed by Dr. Ephraimwell Abellana. Good morning. Today is a remarkable day for me to share my dissertation paper. And this paper is the product of, for how many years? 3 years? Of continuous and in-depth preparations, consultations, and writing of this particular paper. So let me share my screen. So before I start, I've been working in the food service industry for more than a decade. And I really face a lot of different challenges of the industry, really helps me to accomplish this dissertation paper entitled Brand Performance Analysis of Selected Casual Dining Restaurants in National Capital Region, basis for a proposed strategic brand mechanism model. Again, my name is Dr. Michael Bobet Baluyot, and my advisor for this dissertation paper is Dr. Cristina N. Caluza. This is the casual dining restaurants or the food service industry before the pandemic. And this is the current situation of the food service industry. Pandemic situations challenge the hospitality industry, and one of the sectors that really affected is the food service industry. As we navigate this pandemic crisis and its impacts to every facet of the food service industry, our utmost concern is to develop a cure, flatten the curve, and discover new doors for the survival of the industry. Economically, we are facing the very challenging largest global recession in history. However, the food service industry finds itself struggling with the problems in relation to the required brand mechanism that can only be magnified by the current environment and current standards set by the government. According to Sharma et al. 2020, the fallout from the business perspective is evident. Severe loss in sales, a significant number of employees laid off, and several businesses already deciding to permanently close. This paper aimed to propose a business approach with brand standardization and recalibration to be able to succeed competently in the market. So I would like to share the different drivers of the brand performance used in this study. The corporate social responsibility, marketing, innovation, and service quality, which are coming from the variables of Kim et al. 2017 and Wang 2011. I would like to share also the theoretical framework that I've used by Kim et al. 2017, and also the theoretical framework of Wang 2011. And this is the conceptual framework that I made, a very simple conceptual framework, modified and anchored by the theoretical framework of Kim et al. And Wang 2011. For the research methodology, the study employed a descriptive quantitative method of research to describe the casual dining restaurants' customers' responses on the drivers of brand performance. This method of research was specifically employed by the researcher to interpret and analyze data of existing conditions prevailing in the research environment. Cluster sampling technique was employed in choosing the respondents to take part in survey. The sample size was determined at 510 casual dining customers in National Capital Region using the Slovin's formula with a margin of error of 0.05. Due to the current restrictions of the COVID-19 pandemic, on the time that I was conducting the particular dissertation, the research study was not physically conducted. However, online data gathering was utilized to facilitate the current research using Google Form. For reliability tests, Cronbach's alpha is being utilized. Cronbach's alpha coefficient yielded a value of 0.815 as a pretest with 30 respondents with 46 questions. Results from the reliability test revealed that the scales had good internal consistency. Analysis of variance or ANOVA was used to assess the considerable variation between the brand output drivers when clustered according to the profile of the respondent. And the Spearman-Rowe correlation was used to assess the relationship between the drivers of brand performance. The respondents of this research study were the customers of the top 10 casual dining restaurants in the Philippines as basis according to Euromonitor International 2020. I would like to share also that I conducted this data gathering from December 2020 to January 2021. So it took me a month, more or less month to gather all this particular data. And now I would like to present the summary of findings, conclusions, and recommendations of this study. For the statement of the problem number 1, what is the demographic profile of the customers? Illustrated in the screen are the profile of the casual dining restaurant customers from the National Capital Region. It presents the frequency distribution of all respondents of female and male by age, city of residence in National Capital Region, highest educational attainment, and sector of employment where they belong. As the city of residence in National Capital Region, majority of customers of the casual dining restaurant were from Manila City with 22.55%, followed by Mandaluyong City and Pasig City. This finding implies that most of the casual dining restaurants are established mostly in Manila. As can be seen in the table as well, the customers of the casual dining restaurant in 16 cities are dominated by female with 313 respondents or equivalent to 61.37% as compared to 197 male respondents with 38.62%. The findings show that most of the customers responding to the questions were female since many of them were working to help the family. Dining out has also increased with a lot of restaurants spinning up based on the research. A high percentage of respondents, which is 86.47%, were aged between 18 and 27 years old. Most of the customers of the casual dining restaurant in 16 cities are in this range because they are spending more on food than any other age group. They know so little about cooking and most of them have no time to cook or most of them are working based on the research. As to the highest educational attainment, majority of the respondents are college graduate with 86.86%. This finding means that most of the customers are newly graduates or beginners working in National Capital Region. As to sector of employment, majority of sector are from educational institution with 32.35%, as well as private company with 20.39% and students with 18.24% respectively. This implies that young professional students and academicians love to dine out or eat out in a casual dining restaurant. For the recommendations, I would like to present the recommendation here that casual dining restaurants need to have a strong brand strategy that will help restaurants' performance despite of the current situation, such as the use of different aggregators and digital marketing in boosting brand image. For the statement of the problem number 2, how do the casual dining restaurant customers rate the brand performance in terms of the brand performance drivers? This is the descriptive summary of assessment of the casual dining restaurant customers in terms of corporate social responsibility. The result shows that among the drivers for brand performance among casual dining restaurant, the highest is the indicator under the ethical and legal corporate social responsibility, which states that the establishment promotes and engage with community development and community service. And both goods of the establishment follow regulatory specifications with average mean of 4.35 with a verbal interpretation of very satisfactory. This is the descriptive summary of the assessment of casual dining restaurant customers in terms of environmental marketing. As shown in the table, the result shows that among the drivers for brand performance of casual dining restaurant in terms of environmental marketing, the highest indicator is under the tactical marketing, which states that the establishment use eco-labels to promote environment-friendly atmosphere with an average mean of 4.37 and with a verbal interpretation of very satisfactory. Here is the descriptive summary of the assessment of the casual dining restaurant customers in terms of innovation. As shown in the table, the result depicts that among the drivers for brand performance among casual dining restaurant, the highest indicator under innovation states that the organization has a firm dedication to the usage of emerging technology and tools to strengthen the management of the company with an average mean of 4.51 and has an equivalent verbal interpretation of excellent. And for the last variable, this is a descriptive summary of the assessment of the casual dining restaurant customers in terms of service quality. As shown in the table, the result shows that among the drivers for brand performance, all the indicators under service quality have accumulated an average mean of 4.59, which has an equivalent verbal interpretation of excellent. The finding denotes that the casual dining establishments are outstanding in terms of brand performance of service quality. Having presented the different findings, it is concluded that the corporate social responsibility and environmental marketing, the finding denotes that all the indicators are very satisfactory. It is then concluded that the casual dining establishment follows basic requirements for brand performance. For innovation and service quality, the finding denotes that most the indicators are excellent. It is then concluded that the casual dining establishment are outstanding in terms of brand performance implementation. For the recommendations, The casual dining industry can elaborate the innovative strategies appropriate to the demand of the new normal in terms of customer satisfaction, to maintain sustainability, and to further test the level of significance in terms of the relationships towards brand preference. It is also recommended to adopt a variety of menu appropriate to the needs of the casual dining restaurant in line with the current situation of the COVID-19 pandemic that is healthy but affordable. For the results of the hypothesis testing, statement of the problem number 3, is there a significant relationship between the drivers of brand performance? The researcher used the correlation matrix utilizing Spearman's raw correlation coefficient to test the null hypothesis, asserting there is no significant relationship between the drivers of brand performance towards brand preference in terms of corporate social responsibility practices, marketing practices, innovation, and service quality as shown in the table and as stated in the problem. As can be seen, the values computed, two tail were all greater than the level of significance, alpha equal to 0.05, and therefore the researcher accepted null hypothesis, thus concluded that statistically non-significant relationships between the drivers of brand performance and customer attitudes towards brand preference in terms of corporate social responsibility, environmental marketing, innovation, and service quality given in the study. For statement of the problem number 4, is there a significant difference between the drivers of brand performance when grouped according to the respondent's profile? As can be seen in the table, the F value is 10.31457, higher than the F critical 4.038 for the alpha stage of 0.05 as can be seen. The study thus has a reasons to refute the null statement and to suggest that at least one sample has substantially different means and is thus a part of totally different community. Moreover, the p-value computed is 0.0023, which is less than the alpha level of 0.05. Therefore, we reject the null hypothesis, and therefore there is sufficient evidence to conclude that not all the means are equal. For statement of the problem number 5, based on the results of the study, what strategic brand mechanism model can be proposed? This research aimed to develop a strategic brand mechanism for casual dining restaurants that will eventually serve as a guide in achieving the expected experience of the customers and increase brand awareness and branding positioning in the market. The study depicted brand standard mechanism dimensions that will help the restaurant brand achieve customer brand preference. Thus, this proposed model is significant in customizing the various customer brand preference model in food service industry and becomes guiding principles among hospitality industry stakeholders. So I would like to share the proposed strategic brand mechanism model for casual dining restaurants. So the model's strategic brand mechanism model reflects the standard brand dimensions necessary for the measurement of customer brand choice. The 3 aspects, the 5 dimensions of the brands are customer expectations or satisfactions rather, customer behavior, and employee engagement. It can be useful for combining education and training, aligning it with labor market needs, as well as fostering versatility and openness for restaurant brands, particularly for new market players. The model is composed of 6 brand dimensions, namely brand supervision, brand service, brand safety and sanitation, or brand safety protocols and sanitation, brand technical and operational design, brand menu selection and pricing, and brand awareness and sustainability. I would like to also discuss and explain the different variables in the strategic brand mechanism model that I made. For the brand supervision, this is a brand standard mechanism that helps people to handle and manage the physical and or technological functions of a brand restaurant organization, especially in relation to development and production. It includes general management principles and manufacturing processes guidance, facility management, facilities maintenance, industrial legislation, labor relations, and skilled trade oversight, company policy, system review, production and cost control analyze, and material planning, particularly for consumer desires. For brand service, the food quality served and the quality of the service is defined as good, friendly, fair, democratic, healthy, and fast. which are the evidence of the efficiency of brand service. Greater focus on service would improve the target market participation and will enable brand restaurant operations to be more effective. It is impossible to calculate quality of service and complicated since it is immaterial. The intangible factors may be the productivity of managers, the reaction to customer concerns or issues. For safety and sanitation protocols, in the light of ways to avoid infection, food chain facilities were listed and some foodborne pathogens share their fears and how best they would handle consumer interactions and see if a complaint was really a result of proceedings. If each employee has a well-trained program of workshops on aspects of food safety, their awareness of food safety and health will undoubtedly be improved. For the next is the brand design. The setting and the architecture are a portion of the brand itself that gives an idea of the venue. Dining environment, construction, design, interior design and paint, texture and food. The spatial arrangement of the seating, the different interiors and environmental melodies suitably are the key in ensuring the happiness and preferential care of our customers. For the menu selection, the restaurant must be planned to benefit consumers by offering a variety of foods and plates and rates that allow them to purchase safe and affordable foods at reasonable prices. The best quality at the right price is an essential mix. One of the most urgent reasons that enable clients or customers to return to their food services company and to gain customer loyalty and choice is the best value for money spent. Customers continue to shop at affordable prices for food and drink. The expense is the key variable of the restaurant service. Similarly, they have stated that if food and drinks costs for consumers are too high, customers can buy food and drink from cheaper brand names. The good food and drink variety is an important factor in the satisfaction of our customers. And the last brand strategic mechanism is sustainability. This high-quality performance method involves each one on the market by regular working place checking and daily screening. In this way, we will establish collaboration and contact strategies for all to join. The sustainability tactics of the brand for restaurant compliance are calculated. It is the most important brand norm process, as this clearly implies the effectiveness of the restaurant brand's production and service quality. This standard mechanism concerns strategic business strategy for the continued growth of the brand targeted at the local market as a whole. And this is the component of the proposed output. And for the other recommendations, further research, the casual dining industry can elaborate the innovative strategies appropriate to the demand of the new normal in terms of customer satisfaction to maintain sustainability and to further test the level of significance in terms of the relationship towards brand preference. Also, it is proposed that future research study focus on other food service industry sectors, such as fast food industry and fine dining restaurants, for comparative analysis in terms of brand performance towards brand preference of the customers. Another recommendation, the future researchers can expand the locale of the study not only in national capital region for further generalization. And lastly, it is recommended to identify additional drivers of brand performance to broaden the current stage of the study. Other variables may help in further generalization. And I would like to share to all of you that this dissertation paper was already published in Scopus Index journal publication, in the journal publication of Studies of Applied Economics, Estudios de Economía Aplicada, last November 2021. So I am sharing in your screen the link of this particular paper. So I just make some revisions based on the requirement of the publication. And with that, I would like to thank again the esteemed members of this international conference of research headed by Dr. Abellana. Thank you and mabuhay po.
Thank you very much, Dr. Baluyot, for such timely research study. We're very certain that your research study would help the establishments to navigate through the new normal. Thank you so much. Once again, a big round of virtual applause for Dr. Baluyot. We will now head on to our question and answer portion to be headed by Ms. Clarizel Halil.
Good morning, Dr. Baluyot. We'll be asking you a few questions. The first question is from Joseph Rivas, Ariate. Okay, the question, Dr. Baluyot, was based on the findings, what are your recommendations for casual dining restaurants? Once again, I will repeat the question. Based on the findings, what are your recommendations for casual dining restaurants?
Okay, so I'm sorry. So basically, as I mentioned a while ago, I've given a lot of recommendations, but I think the implementation of the proposed strategic brand mechanism can be evaluated and it can be able to use in the different casual dining restaurants. As of the moment, since I am connected with one of the restaurant here in the Philippines, I already integrated this particular brand mechanism or strategic brand mechanism in the standard operating procedures as part of their consultant. And we are now crafting the most effective and efficient strategies on how can be able to implement and deliver this one to the restaurants. I'm hoping we can be able to share the proposed strategic brand mechanism to the other restaurants. Another thing is for us to be able to really identify and compare the different brand performance within the food service industry. I highly recommend to also study the different food service industries such as the fast food and fine dining restaurants so that we can be able to align all the brand preference, not only here in National Capital Region, but also around the Philippines. In that case, we can be able to share the standard strategic brand mechanism, not only here in the Philippines, the restaurants here in the Philippines, but also around the world.
Thank you so much, Dr. Baluyot. There's another question from Romel Ladiero. Congratulations, Dr. Baluyot. Among the dimensions of CSR as presented in the study, it includes philanthropic CSR. What philanthropic CSR do you think is effective in helping us to promote strong branding?
I think in the time of the pandemic situation, we can actually see that most of the food service industry are helping, without payment. So they are delivering this particular corporate social responsibility as part of their brand marketing, and this is not only for brand marketing, but also sharing their what do you call this? Sharing the ability of the company or the restaurant with in terms of their profitability, at the same time sharing the commitment of the food service industry to deliver quality service, not only in the time of before with the without the pandemic situation, but also in this time of pandemic situation. I think from the word philanthropy, there is no pay. There is no payment in terms of the services or the products. They are sharing it wholeheartedly. And I think that really gives a lot of intention of the potential customers to participate and support the brand itself. And I think that is one of the thing in the philanthropy, corporate social responsibility.
Thank you, Dr. Baluyot. Another one is from our YouTube live participants by the name Ina Nipas. Sir, my question is, as a professional in the field of hospitality industry, what advice can you give to the student like us who have no experience but wanted to start their own food business?
I think we have to really identify the needs and the wants of our target market. At the same time, our interests. That's the most important thing. Basically, we have to benchmark to our existing industry businesses. At the same time, we have to assess our capabilities in building our business. As I mentioned a while ago, interest is very important. You cannot be able to work hand in hand on your business if your interest is at par with the particular business that you wanted to build. So basically, you have this type of skills, at the same time attitude, positive attitude, being optimistic. At the same time, you have to go with the trend and study the market. most especially right now that the capacity of our consumers are very small, wherein I'm telling that they are very practical in purchasing the products and services. They wanted to make sure that the value of money that they will be spending is worthy. At the same time, we have to love local products, because that is one of the things that we have to address and embrace right now. No, let's help another businesses for us to be able to grow within our domestic locals and domestic products and services as well. Thank you. I hope I answered the questions.
Yes, Dr. Baluyo, thank you so much for your time to join us and for your amazing presentation, along with your encouraging words for everyone. Your message was exactly what most of us in the tourism and hospitality industry, students and practitioners, needed to hear at this very moment. So thank you so much, Dr. Baluyo. And back to you, Ms. Susha.
Thank you so much, Ms. Clarizel. Thank you so much, Dr. Baluyot. And now, to award the Certificate of Appreciation to our second dissertation presenter, Dr. Michael Bobet Baluyot, may I invite Ms. Liang Wadwan from our Finance and Sponsorship Committee.
Philippine Women's University, School of Hospitality Management, Manila, Philippines. Presents this certificate of recognition to Dr. Michael Bobet Baluyot in appreciation for presenting his dissertation paper entitled Brand Performance Analysis of Selected Casual Dining Restaurants in National Capital Region, basis for proposed strategic brand mechanism during the 22nd Philippine Women's University School of Hospitality Management International Virtual Research Conference with the theme Creating 2.0 Research Convergence, Innovation and Reliance Among the Discipline in the Tourism and Hospitality Industry. Given this 25th day of June 2022, Saturday at the Philippine Women's University, Taft Avenue, Manila City, Philippines, signed by Dr. F.U. Mil Jose Ablana, Dean of School of Hospitality Management, Mr. Lito Beato Jr., overall conference chairperson, and Ms. June Michael Timosa, conference chairperson.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lingwa Dua, and also to our knowledgeable presenters. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much. And now to introduce us to our third dissertation presenter, may I call on our conference co-chairperson, Ms. Cecil Tulyao.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Mel. Our third presenter will discuss the role of corporate social responsibility on business returns of selected casual dining restaurants in National Capital Region, basis for a business returns model. She is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Home Economics, major in Home Economics Education at Central Luzon State University, Masters of Arts in Industrial Education, major in Hotel and Restaurant Management at Eulogio Amang Rodriguez Institute of Science and Technology, Doctor of Education, major in Industrial Education Management at Technological University of the Philippines, and Doctor in Hospitality Management at Philippine Women's University. She has been a faculty member of different colleges and universities, including Dumlao Colleges of the Philippines, Alejandro Colleges, St. Paul University, Manila, Far Eastern University, Trinity University of Asia, and Our Lady of Fatima University. She is presently a part-time faculty member of Polytechnic University of the Philippines. A warm round of virtual applause for Dr. Emily Banzel.
Okay, a pleasant good morning to each and everyone. Magandang buhay. Thank you sa ating organizers and of course to our very diligent, hardworking Dean, Dr. Ephraim Avellana. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this momentous event. No, so actually this is the second invitation because the first one I was invited but I replied a bit late No, that's why the second invitation, I cannot say no anymore. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay. So again, a pleasant good morning. I am Dr. Emily Bansel together with my advisor, Dr. Mark Arvin C. Celis. I'm going to present my dissertation paper entitled The Role of Corporate Social Responsibility on Business Returns of Selected Casual Dining Restaurant in National Capital Region, Basis for a Business Return Model. Okay, for the introduction, okay, the hospitality industry is a broad category of fields within the service industry that includes lodging, food and drink service, events planning, theme park, travel, and tourism. It includes hotels, tourism agencies, bars, and restaurants. And casual dining restaurant is one of the classification of restaurants. It is in between the fast food and the fine dining in terms of price, menu, service, and ambience. Restaurants are into corporate social responsibility. The corporate social responsibility is an engagement of the companies in their neighboring communities and government and non-government organizations. In casual dining restaurants contain strategies that are good for people and the environment. They are not only for the purpose of profit, but to reduce the social and environment harm and risk. They make use of the CSR to increase the business returns. So business returns are vital for the restaurant industry in order to provide services to the guests. It is an indicator of success of restaurant companies, according to Perez of 2019. Business returns requires a corporate social responsibility. So, in this context, I am motivated to conduct the study to assess the role of the CSR on the business return. Specifically, it sought to answer the following problems. Okay, the first one is what is the level of assessment of the respondents on CSR practices in terms of ethics, legal, environment, philanthropic, and economics. And the second one, how do the respondents assess the business returns of the restaurants in terms of positive business reputation, better financial performance, operational cost saving, attract and retain staff, and customer loyalty? And the third one is there significant relationship on the CSR practices and the business returns of the restaurant? And we need to answer also the fourth one, in which to what extent the corporate social responsibility practices affect the business return of restaurants. And the last SOP, what are the issues and challenges in the implementation of the corporate social responsibility? Okay, for the hypothesis, there is no significant relationship between the CSR practices and the business returns of the selected casual dining restaurant. And then the other one, the business returns of the restaurants are not significantly influenced by the corporate social responsibility. For my conceptual framework, the left side of the figure enclosed in the rectangular figure are the dimension of the CSR, and the business returns are enclosed in the pentagon. The line between the CSR and the BR signifies the relationship of the two variables in this study, and it represents the third SOP. And the arrow downward signifies the result of the influence of the CSR on the BR. And the last is the business return model, in which that is the output of the study. For the methodology, it is a quantitative research. A descriptive evaluative was utilized. It was conducted in selected dining restaurants in National Capital Region for the total of 340 using a fishbowl technique. A self-made questionnaire was utilized as an instrument. It was also validated by the 7 expert, and a Cronbach alpha was utilized to check its reliability. For the data gathering procedure, I made use of the two methods, the face-to-face method, and because of some sort of difficulties during that time, pandemic, I even utilized this online method using the Google form. For the statistical treatment, I made use of the 5 statistical tool. For the mean and standard deviation, these were utilized to assess the perception on the CSR and the BR. Ranking was used to answer the SOP5, in which that is something to do with the issues and challenges encountered. The person-R correlation was utilized to address the SOP number 3, the significant relationship of the CSR and the BR, or the business return. And for me to answer the SOP4, linear regression was used to get the impact or the effect of the CSR on the BR. And based on the result and discussion of and for me to answer the SOP number 1, in which that is the level of assessment of the respondents on the CSR of the casual dining restaurants. So the table 1 shows the perceived CSR practices. Among the variables, among the dimensions, okay, based on the findings, the 4 dimensions are the respondents are strongly agree on the 4 dimensions, like ethical, legal, and environmental, and economic, while they do agree on the philanthropic. Okay, so it is clearly shown in the table, or it could be observed in the casual dining restaurants, that they are into environment because it got the highest mean, which is 3.64. We could see some of their practices like strawless. They make use of paper packaging. They made use of LED lights and alike. For the SOP number 2, in which that is the level of assessment on the business returns of the casual dining restaurants, okay, it could be gleaned from the table that the respondents are strongly agree on the 3 dimensions or indicators like positive business reputation, operational cost saving, and customer loyalty. Okay, so for the positive business reputation, got the highest mean, which is 3.64. And it was also confirmed by the study of Dr. Baluyot that out of the corporate social responsibility, it could also create a good image or brand. That's why people or the casual dining restaurants are into CSR, because that also create a brand image. No, so na-relate ko ang study ni Dr. Baluyot. Now it's already cited, Dr. Baluyot. No? Okay, the next one, the table 3 shows the correlation between the CSR and the business returns, and that is the SOP number 3. So the table clearly shows the highest correlation in operational cost saving and attract and retain staff, with correlation of 0.718, which can be interpreted as high positive correlation. This speaks that increasing the operational cost saving will result to an increase in attract and retain staff of the casual dining restaurants in NCR. On the other hand, decreasing operational cost saving will also produce decrease in attracting and retaining staff. Okay, as shown in the table, the CSR and the BR exhibit a correlation of 0.592, which can be interpreted as a moderate positive correlation. This speaks that increasing CSR will result to an increased business return of the casual dining restaurant. So in a layman's term, we have to increase our CSR for us to get a higher business returns. No? Nakita naman, so it's really shown in the study, based on the study. Okay, and for us to assess or get what are the significant variables that has impact on the business return, so it could be clearly shown on the table that there are 3 dimensions which are significant in the business returns, and these are ethical, environmental, and economic, with P value or SIG value of 0.001, 0.003, and 0.00 respectively. Okay, so as shown in the table, they appear this adjusted R square of 0.413, which means it is a 41%, has also value of that coefficient in the business returns. So these 3 have significant value in the business returns. And these are the predictors that the CSR appear to have significant influence on the business return of the casual dining restaurant in NCR, as indicated in the beta coefficient of 0.592. The positive beta weight for the CSR indicates direct causal relationship, which statistically means for every standard deviation unit increase in the CSR, influence 0.592 standard deviation unit increase in the business return. So as I mentioned, as we increase our CSR, our BR also would increase. And from the study, this is the model crafted now from the linear regression. Okay, so y is equal to 0.729 x plus 33.344. The model predicts that each additional value of CSR is associated with an additional 0.729 value of business returns. So for the restaurant implication, for us to understand this value, this model, the owner or the CAO or the manager can use this model in forecasting their business returns of their restaurant. They can manipulate the 5 dimensions of the CSR, specifically the ethical, environmental, and economic, by engaging more on the said dimensions, since they have directly significant or impact on the business return. Since increase of CSR will lead to increase in their business returns, the more they engage with their CSR, the higher their business return. Thus, the model is effective in forecasting the business return of the casual dining restaurant. For the last SOP, it's something to do with the issues and challenges encountered in the implementation of the CSR. And the top 2 are the financial constraint, and the mindset of the top management is changing. It could be glimpsed or observed in different restaurants that contributing or implementing CSR would also need a particular budget. Kaya not everybody or not all establishment are into it, because they have to consider this as well. Okay, for the conclusion, the respondents are strongly agree on the corporate social responsibility dimensions in terms of ethical, legal, environment, and economic, while philanthropic, they do agree. Okay, for the conclusion, another one, in terms of business returns, the respondents are strongly agree on the positive business reputation, operational cost saving, attract and retain staff, and customer loyalty, while they do agree in better financial performance. And for the hypothesis that there is no significant relationship between the CSR and the BR is rejected. So the CSR and the business return exhibit a moderate positive correlation. The second hypothesis was partially rejected because the three dimensions affect the business return: the ethical, environment, and economic. And the other two, the legal and philanthropic, does not affect the business returns. And this, the model created. And for the financial constraints and the mindset of the top management is changing, share the rank as the most concerned on the issues and challenges on the implementation of CSR. And the transparency of the financial matter is big, is considered as the least concern. For the recommendation, so from the findings and conclusion, the following recommendations were drawn. The management or the dining or the casual dining restaurant management should intensify their corporate social responsibility and as well are their business returns. For ethical aspect, this influence the business returns of the casual dining restaurant. The management should continue to adhere with moral standards in their business operation, uphold high standard of food safety policy, apply the virtue of honesty on their products and services, practice the virtue of fairness among employees, and practice open communication among members of the community. For the legal, the management should always document the minutes of the meeting, practice intellectual property registration on their products and printed materials since they have impact on the business return of the casual dining restaurant. For environmental, the management should consistently follow the proper waste disposal, made use of the technology and raw materials that emit less carbon because these affect the business return as well. For philanthropic, even if it does not affect the business return, casual dining restaurant, the management should continue to do philanthropic act like giving scholarship, feeding program, give a gift program, giving donation to the adapted community, sponsorship, and alike. For economics, the management should continue to contribute to the gross national product, increase the return of investment, increase the stock market, and increase the business partnership because this has as well impact on the business return. Okay, and as I mentioned earlier, the model could also be adopted by the different casual dining restaurant that they could also make use in their forecasting. For the problem, something to do with financial, to overcome the issues and challenges on the implementation, CSR pertaining to financial constraint, the management may tie up with other organizations to do CSR, in which it is a win-win situation to both organizations. Management may also adapt or allot budget for their CSR. And then on the government level, the government may also provide financial assistance and incentive or recognition to the companies that are performing well in their CSR. Moreover, to address the challenges that mindset of the top management is changing, the management should be committed in the CSR implementation. The success and failure of the implementation of CSR relies on the management because all the effort emanate from the top management to be devolved to the lower level. Hence, their enhanced commitment to CSR really matters. Again, a pleasant good morning and thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Emily Bancel, for your very rich and detailed research that you've shared to us. Once again, a big round of virtual applause for our dear speaker, Dr. Emily Bancel. And now, Doctor, for our question and answer portion, we would like to call on Ms. Claricel Halili to facilitate it with us.
Good morning, Dr. Bancel.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doctor. The first question for you was from Eugenito Gabiola Bamba. And the question is, how can your research be put into practice?
Okay, so in the implication, since the output is the model using the regression, as mentioned, that these could be utilized by the casual dining managers or owners or future entrepreneur, that out of using the formula, they could make use in forecasting, that out of the substitution of that value, if they're going to put much on their CSR, based on the findings, there could also have increase in their business returns. So if you would like to increase that, kasi may formula, right? You have yung Y plus yun. So if you're just going to substitute that, it could be utilized by the casual dining restaurants and other future entrepreneur.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Benzel, for that. The second question is from Neil Imaru. How can you encourage those hospitality students to be researcher, and how will it affect their careers?
Okay, that's a very but that's very true, right? Because researching is really really difficult, especially now pandemic, no, nag Google form and alike. But at the end of the day, research is very vital in our career, especially if we are in the field of education. That's even part of the ranking and promotion. And how are we going to encourage our students in loving the research by giving a very concrete, simple example of the use of the research that we could make a simplified approach in teaching them. Kasi sometimes title pa lang mahirap na agad. No? So maybe we could just ask them, what are your line of interest and what do you want to thought about, what you would like to answer, and then we could also guide them on how they could also come up with that research. Because research alone is really difficult. And if they are not well guided, it will be double the difficulties on their part.
Yes, indeed, doctor. So we are so delighted to hear that from you. Another question, Dr. Benzel, is from Joseph Rivas. How does business assess the economic side of the casual dining restaurant when we are facing a global pandemic and also doing CSR, corporate social responsibility as well? Thank you.
Okay, for the economic side, basically we are providing jobs to a lot of people, but due to this pandemic, okay, we are suffering or struggle on it. But as mentioned by Dr. Baluyot a while ago, into CSR has something to do with helping our community as well. And it's also a proof that the different restaurants are also helping hand in hand in feeding, or even not laying off their employees, but they also make use of skeletal force and alike. So with that, I believe we could alleviate the life of our people and encourage on how are we going to help our community. Because at the end of the day, it's not always the profit, but how we could give back to our community. Either whether it could be in a philanthropic form, economic, or by being legal because you are following paying taxes, o kaya you are very fair to labor and alike, business permit, and so on and so forth. So I think that would be my sharing.
Thank you for that sharing, Dr. Banza. Last one, Doctor from Romela Diero. Congratulations, Dr. Banzel. CSR is really an important consideration in business operations nowadays. Having well explained, how can we institutionalize CSR in SMEs?
Okay, so actually it could be also a gap, no? Because creating or implementing CSR is not a mandatory, but basically it's a free will of the institution. But what we could make use of is how are we going to encourage them to help also or incorporate CSR. And as mentioned kanina, one of the problems encountered top is something to do with financial constraint. That's why one of the gaps here that I use why I conducted this one, because majority of companies who are good in CSR are really a multi-million companies. So that's why, what about this small medium enterprise? can they still do a CSR despite of the limited resources? And the answer is yes. It's not always that, because there are a lot dimensions or a lot dimension of the CSR. It could be, as I mentioned kanina, it could be in terms of ethical, being fair, being just, okay, being true, okay, being focused, and that's even a dimension of CSR. Environment, no, you could make use of and now we can really observe that in the different restaurants, like yung strawless, okay, yung paper packaging, and the use of solar panel and alike, or even yung mga sustainability practices on how are we going to save our environment. So we could also recommend that to the different small medium enterprise.
All right. With all that, thank you, Dr. Bansal.
Maybe that is the importance. Maybe that is the importance of this presentation, that we could also disseminate the information, not just only on the four corner of the library, but many could also know that there are a lot of means on how are we going to practice the CSR, and the importance of the CSR in the business returns. So nakita yung relationship that as more we engage with the CSR, the higher our business returns. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Bansal, we truly appreciate, and we're so glad for your time and the effort you took to share your thoughts, ideas, and experiences in our industry. Now, maybe go back to our conference host, Miss Melissa. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you so
Bansal.
much, Miss Claricel, and thank you, Dr. Bansal. And now to award the Certificate of Appreciation to our third dissertation presenter, may I invite our conference co-chairperson, Mr. Ryan Christian Alonso.
Thank you, Ma'am Mel. So, Philippine Women's University School of Hospitality Management, Manila, Philippines, presents the Certificate of Recognition to Dr. Emily Bansel in appreciation for presenting her dissertation paper entitled The Role of Corporate Social Responsibility on Business Returns of Selected Casual Dining Restaurants in National Capital Region, basis for a business returns model. During the Philippine Women's University School of Hospitality Management Second International Virtual Research Conference with the theme Cresting 2.0, Research Convergence, Innovation, and Resilience among Discipline in the Tourism and Hospitality Industry. Given this 25th day of June, Saturday at the Philippine Women's University, Taft Avenue, Manila, Philippines. Signed by Dr. Epremuel Jose Avellana, Dean of School of Hospitality Management, Mr. Lito Bajado Jr., Overall Conference Chairperson, and Mr. John Michael Timosa, Conference Chairperson. Again, the Certificate of Appreciation is awarded to Dr. Emily V. Bansel.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bansel, and to our dear speakers for sharing your knowledge and experiences through your extensive researches. So now, without further ado, may we call on Ms. Vanessa Silang from our Registration and Evaluation Committee to introduce to us our fourth and last dissertation presenter.
Thank you very much, Ms. Susha, and good morning, everyone. Allow me to introduce our next presenter. Our fourth presenter will discuss the influence of corporate social responsibility on effective commitment. Corporate social responsibility framework in selected deluxe hotel in Metro Manila. She is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Hotel and Restaurant Management at Philippine Women's University, and the president of the Association of Hotel and Restaurant Management Students. Graduated Masters of Science in Hotel and Restaurant Management at Philippine Women's University. Doctor in Hospitality Management at Philippine Women's University. She is presently the College Dean and Internship Coordinator and Program Chair for Hospitality Management, Tourism Management, and Communication Arts at Siena College Incorporated, Del Monte Avenue, Quezon City. She also worked as special lecturer at Lyceum of the Philippines University, Intramuros, Manila. A warm round of virtual applause to Dr. Arlene Ong.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Um, Good morning, Dr. Abeliana, to the PW administrators, to, of course, our organizers, to our dear International Virtual Reference Conference Committee members, to my co-presenters, to our dear students and guests, good morning, mabuhay, blessed be God forever. So for this morning, I am privileged to present to you my dissertation paper. It is entitled The Influence of Corporate Social Responsibility on Effective Commitment, a Corporate Social Responsibility Framework in Selected Deluxe Hotels in Metro Manila. I was able to craft this paper with the help of my advisor, that's Dr. Felina Siyang, with the panel chair, Dr. Sardena, and the panel members, Dr. Zacarias, Dr. Blanco, and Dr. Calusa. So I'll start my presentation. Let me just share my PowerPoint to you, if I could find it. It's here. All right, so do you see my screen now? Let me make it bigger. All right, so is it good enough? Do you see it?
Yes, doctor.
All right. So I'll start with a brief introduction about my paper. So corporate social responsibility is a buzzword in the competitive commercial environment that heightens expectations from customers to feel better about using their products and services through socially responsible practices. The evolution of corporate social responsibility has changed over time, referring to the way companies are managed to bring about the overall positive impact on the bottom line in which they operate. Corporate social responsibility, as described by the World Business Council for Sustainable Development, is the enduring commitment by a corporate organization to perform decently and ameliorate the economic development while refining the quality of life of the workforce and their immediate kin folks, together with the native population. Okay. So engaging in corporate social responsibility activities definitely brings numerous benefits to any businesses, irrespective of its scope or division. The hotel industry is, of course, no exemption. Okay. So it benefits from the positive outcomes of an excellent corporate social responsibility program, like any other form of businesses. So among such benefits include positive business reputation, improved brand recognition, enhanced financial performance, increased sales and customer loyalty, operational cost savings, organizational growth, more accessible access to capital, and more surprising ability to entice talent and maintain staff. There are already several studies that have been conducted about corporate social responsibility practices, but no study had been projected that scrutinizes the mediating role of job satisfaction in the effect of employees' corporate social responsibility actions on effective commitment. Hence, this research examined the influence of corporate social responsibility on effective commitment mediated by employees' job satisfaction within the context of hotels in the Philippines to resolve the research gap in this study. In addition, this study further attempted to develop a corporate social responsibility framework for hotels in the Philippines. This is as a significant reference guide for hotel employees. For the significance of the study hopes to contribute to the growing area of study about the importance of corporate social responsibility practices as practiced by the hotels to strengthen employees' organizational commitment and job satisfaction. Hotels skirmish to evaluate the influence of CSR on their company's reputation and brand loyalty, and take responsibility for ways their operations impact their people, societies, and the environment. Corporate social responsibility is substantial to increase, attract, retain the assurance and engagement of employees. Primarily, the study is beneficial to the following sectors. So the Department of Tourism, the hospitality industry, the Hotel and Restaurant Association of the Philippines, the Association of Human Resources in the Hospitality Industry, hotel and restaurants, hotel management, hotel employees, of course, our academe also, and the future researchers. For the literature review, what I did is actually discuss each variables that is important to my study. So the first one I have there is the corporate social responsibility. So I defined that according to the European Commission in 2001. So it says that it is an organization's commitment to attaining more sustainable development and unending commitment by business to perform ethically and subsidized to economic expansion while refining the quality of life of the workforce and their families, as well as of the local public and humanity at large. Then next, I have there the investing in people. So I have also read several journals and past researches about investing in people, and that's what you see on your screen right now. So hotels have come up with different strategies that are actually intended to benefit their employees. So we have there, let's say for example, Hilton hotels, they strive to entice advance and preserve the finest and brightest talent in the hospitality industry by offering a range of courses that upkeep the well-being and performance of their team and provide an environment where they can flourish. And then next, I have returning to community. These are the four pillars of my study. So this is the second one now. Returning to community. So it is an engagement in which CSR should be driven not only to improve hotels' image, which will attract customers' loyalty and ensure sizable profit, but also to CSR initiatives which must stem from the sincere aspiration to produce change in our society. So as a result of this, major hotel companies have implemented CSR ingenuities associated to community development. Okay. Next, I have there caring for the environment, the third pillar of my study. So the hospitality sector is notorious for its massive environmental outline. So we have there the definition from Cambridge, which says that environmental footprint is the result that an individual, an enterprise, or movement has on the environment. So for example, we have there the number of natural resources that they use and the amount of harmful gases that they yield. Okay. After that, I have the fourth pillar, which is about emphasizing productivity and innovations. So the hotel industry also needs to innovate by employing, of course, the latest technologies, business models, operating and management processes in increasing productivity, whereas promoting social good. However, it could also be very challenging for hotels to handle client demands without bargaining the quality of service, as regulars often connect sustainability with a decline in cleanliness or comfort. Okay. And then employees' effective commitment, I also define that, which is very important on my study. So this is defined by Mercurio in 2005 as the possible fundamental of organizational commitment. It is the core of psychological attachment to the organization. It shows people's willingness to stay and work hard to help each other reach its company's goals And then after that, I have job satisfaction. So employees' job satisfaction is also described in the study of Kim and Kim in 2020. It is a worker's cognitive and emotional assessment of their profession, which has either an advantage or disadvantage arrangement. Okay, so their study also revealed that an employee's perception and attitudes, namely job satisfaction, job security, and psychological safety, considerably influence the relationship amongst corporate social responsibility and performance. Okay, and there I also have corporate social responsibility, effective commitment, and job satisfaction. These are the several studies that I was able to gather in coming up with my paper. And then for the methodology, the research design that I use is descriptive. It is a descriptive design employing mixed method approach. Okay. So also for the respondents of the study, I have managers, supervisors, rank and file of these 5 participating deluxe hotels in Metro Manila. The criteria for selecting the participating hotels were based on the list from the Department of Tourism, that they are all classified as deluxe hotels. I also considered here resort hotels and casinos as representative of the hotel samples. The selection was made by choosing hotels with structured corporate social responsibilities, having at least more than 200 employees in their operations. And these are the hotels who approved for me to conduct the study with their employees. Also, for the profile of the respondents, most of the respondents are actually age 21 to 29 years old. There are 155 of them. The total respondents for my study is composed of 360 hotels from these 5 participating hotels. And then for the research instrument, I actually have constructed a research questionnaire, adopted from the Bursa Corporate Social Responsibility Framework, which is actually implemented in Malaysia. So it comprises the 4 pillars that I discussed to you on my review of related literature. These are investing in people, about the workplace, caring for the environment, emphasizing productivity and innovations, and returning to community. So these are the 4 pillars. And then for the validity and testing, I actually have also for the validity and testing, okay, the questionnaire actually undergone phase and content validation from experts in the corporate social responsibility. I had the senior environmental officer of El Nido Resorts. I have food and beverage operations manager from Hilton Guam, and I have the founder of Turismo Pilipinas and the manager also of Red Planet here in the Philippines. So likewise, the researcher also include hotel practitioners in the field of human resources management of hotels in Manila. Okay. The actual data collection that is actually part of the pilot testing was conducted among 39 non-participants of the study to test the validity and internal consistency of the survey instrument. For the data gathering, because this study was actually conducted during the height of the pandemic, so it actually took me longer than I expected, to be honest with you, because I really wanted to go down to my respondents. I have actually communicated with the top management of the hotel just to get accurate data for my paper. So fortunately, with the help of the vice president of hotel operations of these hotels, their general managers as well, human resources officers of these 5 participating hotels, I was able to gather my data longer than I expected, but yes, I got it completely and accurately, even though it is during the pandemic. So with the statistical treatment, I use the SPSS to analyze the data, where descriptive and inferential results were obtained to conclude the study. For the results, I have here first the result about the first pillar, which is investing in people. So as you can see on the table right now, it has A8, statement A8, which is care to employees. It has the highest weighted mean score of 3.59 and has a corresponding verbal interpretation of very good. 4 more indicators got very good ratings. So I have there the statement A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, and A7 and A11. Okay. Next, I have the second pillar, which is about the caring for the environment. So with this table, you could see there that statement B2 has the highest percentage. It got 3.44. So the hotel program has reduced energy consumption of by using lamps or automatic turning off lights sensors. That is to decrease their electricity consumption. And then I also have for the third pillar, which is returning to community. So the table here indicates that the highest for this pillar is C2, which is philanthropic actions, which states that the hotel monetarily funds local charities through sponsorships, donations, and the endowment of goods and services to qualified beneficiaries. The fourth pillar about emphasizing productivity and innovation. Okay, so we have here the result here implies that in terms of corporate social responsibility, involvement of these 5 deluxe hotels in productivity and innovation, employees are empowered to make suggestions and decisions in their CSR activities. Okay, so next table that I have is level of effective commitment of deluxe hotels. Okay. It has the composite mean of 3.21. Oops, okay, jump. All right, so the next one there is the level of job satisfaction of deluxe hotel employees. So the highest is JS3, meaning to say the respondents really enjoyed their present position because it has more advantages than disadvantages. Okay, so the next table that I have for you is the regression results. So here you could see that the effective commitment here is 0.739281. So meaning to say the regression result indicated that corporate social responsibility in deluxe hotels in Metro Manila and job satisfaction and effective commitment has 30.17% of variance. The regression model also showed that CSR significantly influence effective commitment in deluxe hotels in Metro Manila. Okay. For here, I have the summary of teams from the key informants interview. So this is the result of my interview with the key personnel of these 5 participating hotels. They're actually general manager, human resource manager. I have also the hospitality training manager, the vice president for hotel operations, the lead on PR, environmental, and social governance, senior managers of these 5 participating hotels. So out of my interview with them, I was able to come up with these themes, which actually I used to come up with the framework. Okay, so this is the framework that I crafted out of the result from the quantitative and qualitative data. So the findings here, although right now in the Philippines we don't have laws yet that govern the practice of corporate social responsibility, but still this practice becomes integrative philosophy of any business in achieving competitive advantage, customer loyalty, retention, and sustainability in operations. So as a result, CSR has become a prevalent issue in academic and business circles, including hospitality and tourism industry, attracting interest from people of all walks of life. So with my framework here, my objective for this one is to determine the important corporate social responsibility practice suited for the Lux hotels in the Philippines, to identify the most essential corporate social responsibility pillars that need to be practiced by the current hotel industry, to develop more comprehensive framework that will integrate social behavioral aspects as well as multidisciplinary studies instead of focusing on somewhat smaller emphasis. So for the conclusion of the study, so first one there is corporate social responsibility practices in the hotels have expanded to new prominence in the industry on where and how the business operates and how the organizational initiatives reflect the company's ability to connect to the bottom line, underscoring the 4 pillars. So the investing in people, caring for the environment, returning to the community, and emphasizing productivity and innovations. Second, all 4 pillars of CSR are equally important, and each of these dimensions support the perception of the hotel respondents that this should be form part of the hotel's underpinning CSR principles. Third, in the service organizations like the Lux Hotels in the Philippines, CSR and the adoption of CSR initiatives are linked to employees' effective commitment that their beliefs and values align with the organization's vision and mission, and they feel at home in the organization. Number 4, the most effective CSR devices incorporate business applications that direct the company's internal goals for benchmark, such as sustainable business. The findings conclude that hotel employees feel more satisfied with the jobs that dedicate themselves to socially responsible activities. Number 5, corporate social responsibility has a positive and significant influence on effective commitment, job satisfaction, and job satisfaction has significant relationship with effective commitment. Thus, all the 4 pillars of CSR had a positively strong and meaningful relationship with employees' job satisfaction and effective commitment. The study also builds a more comprehensive research model, indirectly and directly measuring CSR and effective commitment directly and indirectly along the mediation of job satisfaction, provided that a better understanding of the causal relationships between the 3 major constructs, thereby contributing to the existing diversified literature in the field of organizational management. Also, this study established that no 2 corporate social responsibility plans would look alike, since no 2 organizations are identical based on the qualitative results that define meaning to have supplemental variables in the CSR practices among hotels. Lastly, the study provides an accomplishment in extending the theoretical contribution by showing the usefulness of Malaysia's Bursa Corporate Social Responsibility Framework in the hospitality industry setting here in our country. For the recommendations, hotels must guarantee that the entire organization engages in economic, philanthropic, legal, and ethical CSR activities espousing the 4 pillars of CSR in this study. To improve workers' job satisfaction and quality of life, hotels should focus on adherence on the 4 pillars of CSR as benchmark principles in implementing CSR practices. In implementing CSR espoused in this study, hotels should emphasize the contribution of CSR initiatives to the organization, stakeholders, customers, government, and community. Number three, hotels should exercise their voice in wishing that more companies will embrace CSR as their business philosophy in the absence of the Philippines law on CSR as of this date. Number four, that the study sample targeted only employees of deluxe hotels in Metro Manila. Hence, the results may not be generalizable to other organizations of the Philippines and the classification of hotels. Future research should deliberate the diverse geographic settings and cultural contexts, including the social demographic profiles influence as moderating factors. Lastly, future research can add these elements into the projected model to test supplementary mechanisms through which CSR affects positive workplace outcomes. Future studies should also contemplate on longitudinal data and further test the causality among variables and may consider focusing on the entire hotels and restaurant sectors regardless of their classifications. All right. Thank you for listening to my study. I hope you were able to learn something and you will be able to apply it to your future research as well.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arlene Ong. Thank you so much, Doctor, for presenting your research paper to us.
It's
A big
my
round of
pleasure.
virtual applause. And now we will head on to the question and answer portion to be headed by Ms. Clarizel Halil.
Good morning, Dr. Ong.
Hi.
The first question for you, Dr. Ong. Do the results of your study substantiate legislation to require businesses in the country to enforce corporate social responsibility in their mission statement? Is the Philippines ready for this paradigm shift?
Definitely yes. To answer your first question is, let me just answer because you have two questions there. So let me just answer the first part. First, yes, definitely based on this study, there are several guidelines already. As you could see, I have gathered hotels. Right now, I only have the deluxe hotels in the Philippines, but definitely other hotels are also practicing CSR practices. And therefore, you could see that even though there is no concrete Philippine law at the moment, yes, several businesses are already practicing CSR. Okay. And then what's the second question? Claricel, because you
The
had
second one is, yes, well, Doc, is the Philippines ready for this paradigm shift?
Yes, definitely. Philippines has been ready about this a long time ago already. It's just that as you can see, as part of my recommendation, the hotel industry is not, that voicing out their concerns, even though they have been practicing CSR for a long time. So I believe if we have a representative with, our government bodies that could really voice the concern of the hospitality sector, I am assured that, the hospitality industry CSR practices would be highlighted, because as what I gathered on my researches, you will be amazed on how these deluxe hotels they have a concrete CSR practices. It's just it is just, unfortunately it is not recognized at the moment.
Yes, Dr. Ong, that's one thing that we should all look forward to. Last question, Dr. Ong. Indeed, the CSR practices improve the image of the business. Is CSR
Yes.
applicable to all businesses in the Philippines? If it does, is it voluntary to the employees? Or is someone from a higher position appointed to do such practice? Thank you.
In the Philippines, based on the study that I gathered, okay, first let's discuss on what I have gathered, and I'll discuss to you also the practices of other companies. Based on the research that I gathered, most of the employees actively participate with all the CSR activities of these hotels. They are always willing to report for work. You know, there is one hotel here, part also of the respondent of my study. Um, the CSR practices of their hotels are being conducted after the 8 hours, pay duty of the employees. But you know that they still voluntarily participate, even though they know that they will not get anything monetary. There is no monetary consideration for them to join the CSR practices of the hotels. But according to their human resource manager, you would see employees, they're all smiling, they are all happy, that they are able to share their time, to share their energy, no matter how busy they are with, the day-to-day operation of the hotels. But yes, definitely employees are willing to participate. But with your question, if the employees should initiate, there's no problem if the employees will be the one to suggest to the higher ups, or let's say to the owners. If you are working for small hotels, some of us here could be working for small hotels in the provinces. But if you are a type of employee, you are an employee, you have an initiative, definitely please share that to the owner of your company, and I'm sure they would be happy to hear your ideas. You can start. Definitely, there's no wrong. There's nothing wrong with being the prime leader for the CSR practices of your company. And if I will be the owner of that company, I could actually suggest a good promotion for you. Right?
Yes, indeed. Yes,
But
Dr.
but for
Thank you
for
so
s-
much.
yeah, but speaking for the hotel owners who are maybe listening to us right now, if you haven't started with your CSR practices, yes, of course, I highly encourage you to come up with your CSR activities. This is something that a good bonding activity with your employees. And in return, definitely you will get good rewards. You will have loyal employees. You will have productive employees. And of course, for your business, this is, a sort of a good branding as well. If the people in your community knows that you could do something for them. Okay. Anyway, let's admit it. The hospitality industry is, um, we are also consuming the resources of our environment. So in turn as well, we should have a good CSR practices to cover for this.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Ong, for that. Thank you for bringing up the importance of corporate social responsibility. And for now, may I turn you over back to our conference host, Ms. Susha. Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Ong, for your time and for all the sharings that we had learned from you. Thank
It's
you,
my
Dr. Ong.
pleasure, Miss
Back to you.
Claricel. I'm always happy to be part of my alma mater. And to you, if in case you need anything about CSR practices or about the hospitality industry, just let me know. Okay.
Thank you so much,
We sure
Dr.
appreciate
Ong.
that. Thank you, Dr.
And now to award the certificate of appreciation to our fourth dissertation presenter, may I invite Ms. Marilyn Milan from our advertising committee.
Thank you, Ms. Susha. Philippine Women's University School of Hospitality Management, Manila, Philippines, present the Certificate of Recognition to Dr. Arlen Ong in appreciation for presenting her dissertation paper entitled Tea on Effective Commitment, a corporate social responsibility framework in selected deluxe hotels in Metro Manila. During the second Philippine Women's University School of Hospitality Management International Virtual Research Conference with the theme Cresting 2.0 Research Convergence, Innovation, and Resilience among disciplines in the tourism and hospitality industry. Given this 25th day of June 2022, Saturday at the Philippine Women's University, Taft Avenue, Manila City, Philippines. Signed by Dr. Efraimel Jose Boliana, Dean of School of Hospitality Management, Mr. Lito Bajado Jr., Overall Conference Chairperson, and Mr. John Michael Timosa, Conference Chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you. Thank you to the organizers, Dr. Prime as well. So to all the PW administrators there. And thank you so much.
Thank you also, Dr. Ong, for sharing your study with us.
It's my pleasure.
And now to sum up the AM session, may I invite Ms. Marilet Loizaga.
Thank you very much, Ms. Susha. And for our AM synthesis, we have Dean Efraimel Abellana for inspirational and remarkable message. From our dissertation presenters, first we have Dr. Azucena Palugna. She presented her study titled The Travel Landscape of Filipino Americans, a Tourism Destination Marketing Model and Strategy for the Philippines in the New Normal. She talked that this study wants to craft the recommended tourism destination marketing model and strategy for the Philippines to increase the demand or visitation to the country by finding socio-demographic and geographic profiles of Filipino-American travelers. And also this research would help marketers understand consumer experience such as decision making by adapting the Filipino-American travelers customers journey that Dr. Palugna custom made. So she recommends also that we need to tell and adapt the model and framework in order to attract more Filipino-American travelers. From our second presenter, we have Dr. Michael Bobet B. Baluyot. He presented his study titled Brand Performance Analysis of Selected Casual Dining Restaurant in National Capital Region, Basis for Proposed Strategic Brand Mechanism Model. Since we are in the current condition of pandemic, sustainability issue of casual dining restaurant have been the problem in our country. Dr. Baluyot aimed to propose a business approach with brand standardization and recalibration to be able to succeed competently in the market. The said model strategic brand mechanism is necessary for the measurement of consumer brand choice. So it is therefore recommended that the casual dining industry can elaborate the innovative strategies appropriate to demand of the new normal to maintain sustainability. It is concluded also that well-being and hygiene of casual dining restaurant have been the most difficult in the current standard customer support and satisfaction, and also it is inferred that the preference and happiness impacts of the customer. For our third presenters, we have Dr. Emily Bancel. She presented her study titled The Role of Corporate Social Responsibility on Business Returns of Selected Casual Dining Restaurants in National Capital Region, Basis for a Business Returns Model. Undoubtedly, the business returns model is vital to the operation of the restaurant corporate social responsibility or CSR. It is important in the business return of the restaurant. Dr. Bancel's study aimed to create business returns model that can be used to predict the impacts of CSR to business returns of the casual dining restaurant in NCR and other organizations. The researchers conclude that the 5 aspects of CSR, such as ethical, legal, environmental, philanthropic, and economic, affect the business returns of the social dining restaurant in NCR. So recommendation derived that management should strengthen their CSR to sustain the increase of the profit of the company through continuous global innovation and competitive advantage. And for our last and definitely not the least presenter, we have Dr. Arlene Ong. She presented her study titled The Influence of Corporate Social Responsibility on Effective Commitment, a corporate social responsibility framework in selected deluxe hotel in Metro Manila. It is focused on the corporate social responsibility activities of 5 deluxe hotel in Metro Manila. She said that this study aimed to examine the influence of CSR or corporate social responsibility practices on employees, effective commitment, and determine the mediating effect of job satisfaction within the hotels. So the researchers' finds indicate that corporate social responsibility with investing in people, caring for the environment, returning to the community, and emphasizing productivity and innovation would lead to the higher effective commitment of employees. Dr. Ong conclude that hotel employees feel more satisfied with the jobs that indicate themselves to socially responsive activities, that this will lead to long-term commitment to the firm. So hoping that everyone will join us again to our afternoon session. We still have presenters that will give us more knowledge and ideas in the field of tourism and hospitality. Thank you, and back to you, Ms. Susha.
Thank you so much, Ms. Marilette, for summing up our AM session. And once again, I would like to thank all our dissertation presenters. We are truly grateful for the time, the knowledge, and ideas you've imparted to us. That was definitely a ton of information. We've already had 4 eloquent research presenters, and there will be more who will generously share their research papers with us. Are we still okay?
Yes.
There's so much to learn today. Again, to those who just came in, good morning. May I remind everyone to please follow, like, and subscribe our Facebook page at pwu.official fan page and our YouTube account, pwu_official.
I totally agree with you, Ms. Shusha. This conference is really getting exciting. I hope we can keep the same energy and enthusiasm for our afternoon presenters. And in order to do that, I believe we can now head on to our lunch break. But before anything else, we would like to thank our following sponsors for your support to this conference. For our premium package, Tourism Promotions Board Philippines, a corporate body attached to the Philippine Department of Tourism. We have Mr. Salvador Garcia Hipe. Speaking of tourism and hospitality, there is a person who is passionate about our industry. Let us show our support by following @Sal Garcia Hipe on all of his social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn, as he discusses and discovers more about hospitality and tourism. We also have Ms. Susana Santo Domingo, owner of Wicklin Industrial Services, located at Barangay San Isidro, Parañaque City, Philippines. They are offering kitchen exhaust cleaning and hauling and disposal. For our gold package, we have Miss Dorleen de Maisip of MQ Kitchen Maine. You may follow them on Facebook and Instagram at MQ Kitchen Maine with her famous tagline, "Pag bagoong na ang pinag-usapan, MQ lang ang sakalang." Miss Donnie Halili of Javier of Abarni Marketing Group Incorporated, a real estate company operating at Cabuyao, Malbar, San Pedro, changing lives one family at a time. We also have Miss Clarissa Perez, owner of Brood Duplets Onshore, a water refilling station providing a purified alkaline ionized water at Mabalacat, Pampanga. We also have Ms. Almari Joy Umbay Balaman of RDL Pharmaceuticals Lab Incorporated, a 100% Filipino-owned corporation committed to produce high-quality, safe, and innovative beauty and skincare products. And of course, we have Edric Publishing House, your one-stop shop for all your tourism and hospitality reference and books needs.
And for our silver package, we have Mr. John David Verano, owner of 25th & Co. Cakes and Pastries located at Cabangbang, Daet, Camarines Norte. We also have Ms. Rosemary Ocampo of International Marketing Group and Ms. Leia Verano from International Marketing Group as well. We have Ms. Rosalina Amora, the owner of BV Travel PH Ticketing Services located at Puerto Princesa City, Palawan, that offers domestic and international airline ticket and passenger vessel ticket. We have Ms. Agnes Guanco, Ms. Alexis Cuenca, the owner of Cuenca Distribution located at 13 Martires City, which is also a QAsia's Quality Excellence Awardee. We have Ms. Jeline Zamudio of Big Brew Milk Tea located at Benzon's Camarines Norte, Mr. James Salenga of Nanay Cecilia's Food and Franchising Business offering gourmet tuyo, Spanish-style boneless tawilis, steamed rice cake, and also a tuk-tuk operator. We have Ms. Miraflor Milan, owner of Jemmy's Gift Shop located at Oroquieta City, Misamis Occidental that offers personalized gifts, souvenirs, cakes, pastries for all occasions. We have Maria Teresa Soria, owner of MS Welding Shop, located at Mercedes, Camarines Norte. Last but not the least, we have Chef Nino Logarta, the owner of Food Project. You may follow them on Facebook at Nino Logarta and Instagram at Chef Nino Logarta Project Food. For our bronze package, we have Mr. Alain John Baclayo, the owner of Relaxing Staycation at Gilmore Tower, Miss Natalie Berin, and Mr. Paul Xavier Morales. Thank you very much to our dear sponsors. Please take note that after the break, we will hold another session for thesis research presentation with our 3 more presenters. We will be providing a new link for the PM session, and our live session will be cut off. So be sure to be back and join the new conference link before 11:40 a.m. You can see the link in the comment section of our Facebook and YouTube channel, and we will see you again later, and may you have a wonderful lunch. Thank you.
Let's wander Baguio's flourishing art scene. Right in the middle of the mountains sits a haven for local artists and craftsmen. Baguio is also home to national artist Benedicto Cabrera, widely hailed as a master of Philippine contemporary art. Here, the art is just as amazing as the view. Go on another cultural trip that will inspire you. Let's wander Baguio's evergreen parks. Baguio's high altitude makes it the ideal habitat for the starling. Plus a rich and varied flora. Go park hopping all you want. One thing's for sure, the views are always breathtaking. Hop on to your next virtual tour. Let's wander on Boracay's iconic paraos. These wind-powered vessels get rockstar parking. There where you can find the very best views of the island. And have that perfect end to your day in Boracay. Sail off to your next virtual tour. Let's wander Boracay's waters. What a view! There's lots to do, like soar up in the air and get a bird's eye view of the sea. It's not for everyone, but it's definitely unforgettable. Enjoy waves of endless fun in Boracay. Find more unforgettable adventures in your next virtual tour. Let's wander Bukidnon. Welcome to Sincona Forest Reserve. This ASEAN Heritage Park is the only place in the country where Sincona trees are raised for malaria medicine. Ride along its peaceful and scenic trails. Or from the sky! Woohoo! Hope you're not afraid of heights. Soar into your most spectacular adventure or have a new one in the next virtual tour. Let's wander Camiguin. Starting off with the famous White Island, a 1.4-kilometer stretch of powdery fine sand. Then to the marine sanctuary of Mantigue Island, one of the best diving spots in the country, known for its rich biodiversity. Cap off your adventure with the majestic Katibawasan Falls. Come again to Camiguin or go on a new virtual adventure. Let's wander the islands of Coron, Palawan. Take a ride through the jagged limestone cliffs that date back to the Jurassic era. Look at that water! Hop around breathtaking island landscapes you'd only see on screensavers. Or visit the island towns that carry a wealth of local history. There isn't a corner of Coron that doesn't take your breath away. But hold your breath for your next virtual tour. Let's wander El Nido, Palawan. Known for its extraordinary natural splendor, coral reefs, and aquamarine waters. It is regularly ranked as one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. The kind of place where you'd want to live on the water. And you actually can. There's no paradise quite like El Nido in the whole world. Find another Philippine paradise in your next virtual tour.
Let's wander Manila. Hungry? You came to the right place. Local food crawls offer a taste of the world. Quick, delicious, no fuss food. Just take your pick. There's something here for everyone in the city that loves to eat. Find your next delicious adventure. Let's wander the walled city of Manila. To enter, just pass under the eyes of St. James. You'll find a lot of plazas here and converted structures. Stories in every corner, sacred and historic. Many come for the history, but stay for the pockets of peace you'll find inside Manila's walls. Find your next adventure. Let's wander Cebu, home of the famous lechon. Pigs are roasted for 3 to 7 hours, flavored with secret spices. Thanks, Kuya. Just don't forget the extra rice. After eating, go for a nice walk where blooms await you all year round. Wake your senses in awesome Cebu, or find your next adventure. Let's wander Cebu. With so many activities, it's easy to get caught up in a rush. Just hop on and dive into new experiences. Cebu has the largest oceanarium in the country, where you can learn about marine life without getting your feet wet. Ride the waves in beautiful Cebu, or go on another adventure now. Let's wander the Ilocos Norte sand dunes. If you want to get down and dirty, this paradise is thirsty for adventure. Just choose your ride and rush through landscapes that are always changing. Go where the wind blows here in Ilocos. Or take another trip somewhere else.
Let's wander the roads of Ilocos Norte. The picture-perfect place for a scenic drive where the mountains meet the sea. Drive on up to one of the last Spanish colonial lighthouses of its kind. Enjoy the ride in Ilocos Norte. Or take another trip somewhere else.
Let's wander La Union's Tangadan Falls. The perfect side trip after surfing the waves. Hike along the scenic trail and be greeted by the majestic 50-foot falls. Whoa! The best part? A dip in its cool, refreshing waters. Seek more thrills in La Union or in the next virtual adventure.
Let's wander Pampanga's culinary scene. Known as the country's culinary capital, Pampanga is a regular stopover for foodies, where culture and cuisine combine into the unique fusion of flavors of vibrant Kapampangan dishes. You can fill up on the colors alone. There's so much to sample, especially when you're in a foodie hotspot like Pampanga. Find more Filipino flavors in your next virtual tour.
Let's wander Barangay Balisong, home of the proud butterfly knife. Mr. Ona has been making them since he was 12. The 29. 29 centimeters long and the go-to souvenir. The Balisong is a symbol of bravery and craftsmanship, one you can help keep alive in historic Batangas. Or take another trip somewhere else. Let's wander the rocky trails of Mount Tapulao, Zambales, the highest peak of the Zambales mountain range. Known for its rocky road trail and pine forest that test the limits of your endurance and toes. Onwards to the mossy forest. And finally, the famous world tree that marks the summit of your adventure around breathtaking Zambales. Get more majestic views in your next virtual adventure. Let's wander Anilao, the quick getaway for gram-worthy dive sites. Coral dives, wreck dives, everything's here. Even clowns. It's the best way to meet 2 million friends and discover sunken treasures. Explore the depths of Batangas or choose your next adventure. Let's wander the 100 islands of Pangasinan, 124 to be exact, each with their own hidden secrets to be explored. The islands are connected by the Lingayen Gulf, and bridges, and even zip lines that let you fly from one island to the next. Woohoo! There's hundreds of adventures to dive into when there's 100 islands to explore. And maybe even more to be had in your next virtual tour.
Let's wander Bohol. Maybe you've seen chocolate hills like this. But not like this. Get up close to the hills with a thrilling ride. So tara, go on more fun adventures in Bohol. Or start a new one in the next virtual tour. Let your taste buds wander in Bohol. Starting with a rare kind of salt made only in the town of Albur. A dinosaur egg? Nope, it's a Sinti Buok, which has a sharp, smoky flavor. Another specialty is Ube Kinampay, the queen of Philippine yams. Famous for its fragrant aroma and sweet taste. There's always more to explore in Bohol. Or in another foodie paradise.
Let's wander Davao. There's nothing like the smell of pine trees in the morning. And finding trails you can get lost in. Thanks, Kuya. Head on up to get a refreshing kind of high. Coming through! Nature meets adventure here in Davao. Go on another virtual trip today. Let's wander Davao. Davao grows some of the finest cacao beans in the world that turns into all kinds of chocolate. You can even make it yourself. Salamat! Meet a national icon. Sinag's wingspan can reach up to 7 feet. Most eagles here are rescues, but supporting sanctuaries like this one help ensure their survival here in Davao. Find your next adventure.
Let's wander the islands of Iloilo. Saltwater lagoons? Just hop on. Discover small islands that make you feel like a king. You can also go bar hopping, where it's happy hour every hour. Find more hidden gems in Iloilo, or go on another adventure. Let's wander Iloilo. It's home to many things, including a stairway to heaven. The pilgrimage has 456 steps. But you can always rest along the way. And you made it to heaven, all in one piece. It also offers breathtaking views. Find your haven in Iloilo, or go on another adventure.
Let's wander Tarlac and Bataan. In Capas, you'll find a 54-hectare memorial park, which used to be the site of a prison camp that incarcerated thousands. Today, it stands to honor the fallen. This marks the start of the 97-kilometer march that went on for 7 days. After the war, reparations were made, and this bell tower stands to symbolize the reconciliation between the two countries. At Mount Samat, you'll find the Shrine of Valor, the scene of the final stronghold, honoring the gallantry of Filipino and American soldiers. Walk the pages of history in historical Bataan and Tarlac, or go find another adventure. Let's wander the Puerto Princesa Underground River. Safety first! This UNESCO World Heritage Site is famous for its limestone landscapes and stunning cave formations. No wonder it's part of the new 7 Wonders of Nature. Get lost in Palawan's breathtaking sights, or explore more in another virtual tour. Let's wander the historic city of Vigan. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is one of the best preserved Spanish colonial towns in the world. Walk along cobblestone streets of heritage houses and historic attractions dating back to 1500s. Don't forget to take home Ilocano crusts for pasalubong. Travel back in time in Vigan or escape to another world-renowned wonder.